Zilkey Ultra Recovery Converter, and it claims to recover your old data in seconds. It's fishy as HE double hockey stick, so I'm gonna debunk it with my friends from world-renowned data recovery facility, DriveSavers. Sponsored by Linode, cloud computing from Akamai. Hey everyone, how are you all doing? If you're new here, welcome. My name is Crazy Ken, and we're looking at the Zilkey today. So I wanted to... Hang on. Hello?
Hey Ken, you remember that hard drive you gave me for my birthday so I could store all my pictures of my wife Martha on it?
Yeah?
And you know how it's shaped like a flask, right?
Please don't tell me you tried to pour booze in it.
Oh, not at all. I tried to pour alcohol in it.
That's the same thing, you old... best friend. Anyway.
You gotta help me. My only pictures of Martha are on it.
Well, did you back up the hard drive?
I did, but I backed it up too far and it fell off the desk. That might be another reason why it doesn't work anymore.
Okay, don't do anything. Just sit tight. I'll be right over. I just gotta finish this thing quick.
Well, you know me. I'm always tight.
And I did not need to know that. So, before I go and get Old Man Ken's flash drive and test it with this Zilkey product, let's investigate the company online, and we'll start with their video advertising. The TikTok ad starts by saying it's time to retrieve all those old files you thought you lost. And then we're introduced to the Zilkey Recovery Converter. You can connect Zilkey to any of your old hard drives, and it can recover old data in seconds. And you can use up to 3 hard drives at the same time. You can even pull old files from phones and tablets. Zilkey also supports 6 terabytes of storage capacity and transfers files at insane speeds. And you can retrieve data that was even locked with a password. And then the ad ends with a 30% discount call to action. Now before I tear this thing a new beehole, and trust me, I really want to, let's calm down and investigate the other videos first. The Twitter ad starts with someone holding up a lighter to a hard drive with text that says, "Recover your hard drive." Yeah, you know, that's a smart idea. Just burn it. And the story is this poor guy has had multiple hard drive failures, and he never thought it'd be possible to retrieve his lost files. Then the ad says similar things that we heard before, and it hyphenates terabytes and adds an extra R? That's a new one to me. His laptop wasn't able to turn on, but thanks to Zilkey, he retrieved the data from the hard drive. Then the ad shows us a phone again and plugs the same 30% discount. Ugh, okay, I'm really trying to suppress my rage here. You know, I'm kind of like a Gretzko, I just want to unleash it all. But we have one more video to suffer through. Okay, we're all in this together. Are you with me? This second Twitter ad is delightful. It has terrible text-to-speech AI voice mixed with human voice.
It's time to retrieve all those files you thought you lost.
If you have data stored on a laptop or computer that no longer works, then this is for you.
And they randomly drop the Zilkey in water for no reason, and they show it smoking inside a box? That's the last thing you want to do. It looks like the product sucks and it starts on fire. What goal is this advertising agency trying to achieve here? And again, this ad makes similar claims, including phone and tablet data transfer, and it says it can connect to literally any of your hard drives. Thank goodness that was a short video because my rage is it's gonna be perfectly fine. I've taken anger management. I am Zen Ken now. Just kidding. Now that that's out of my system, let's break down these videos. I have 2 big problems with this ad, and the first one is the narrator says it's time to stop worrying about data loss, which implies the Zilkey can recover your data in case of an emergency. Now, as a computer enthusiast, I can reasonably conclude that this is just a SATA IDE USB converter. That means this thing can't do any real data recovery, despite the narrator saying to the customer, you don't have to worry about data loss. That is very misleading and very dangerous. My second issue with this ad is he says the Zilkey can retrieve data from a hard drive locked with a password. They really need to put a disclaimer here because this is only half true. If you have a password on your user account, yes, it's possible to take the hard drive out of that computer, put it in a dock like this, mount it externally to another computer, and access all the data instantly. It's actually pretty easy. But if the hard drive is encrypted, which a lot of modern devices encourage the user to enable when you set up your device, you can't get to that data unless you have a password or recovery key. This thing isn't going to bypass that. And unauthorized data access is even more improbable with devices that have dedicated security hardware, like Apple Silicon inside of Macs and iPhones, or TPMs inside of PCs. Up next is this Twitter ad, and it starts with the burning hard drive. That's just a stupid pattern interrupt that's used to get your attention. That's a typical textbook marketing tactic. Now, my big beef with this particular ad is the inconsistency in its claims. The narrator says he's had hard drives fail on him time and time again, and with Zilke you can instantly retrieve your data in seconds. But then he contradicts himself and says his laptop no longer turns on, but he was still able to retrieve the data from the hard drive. Now that's a totally different scenario. Your laptop or desktop PC can die, but the hard drive or the solid state drive inside the computer can still be completely operational. And in that case, a product like this could actually help you. You take the drive out of the computer, you plug this in, and then you attach this to another computer via USB. But the messaging is so confusing, it's hard to tell what this thing actually does. So now we come to the final Twitter ad. You know, the one with the smoking box. This ad, like some of the others, claims you can retrieve data from phones and tablets. And yes, in theory you can do that if you have the right adapter and you authorize the phone to connect to the accessories via the security settings. But that's nothing special. That's not data recovery, that's just transferring files. You won't be able to do that if the phone is broken. And there's no internal storage in this thing, despite multiple ads saying it has 6 terabytes of storage capacity. No, you can't plug anything into here and transfer data to this device. And I open it up, there's no storage medium in here. And they also claim you can literally retrieve your data in seconds, and it connects to literally any of your hard drives. Did Chris Traeger write this ad?
Literally. It was literally just a small calzone.
Your data won't be retrieved in seconds. The duration of your transfer will depend on how fast the I/O is and how many files you have and how big they are. And you can't connect it to literally any hard drive. Out of box, the Zilke can only attach to 3.5-inch IDE, 2.5-inch IDE, and SATA. So something like a NVMe SSD would not work with this thing. So my BS detector is just overloading by this point. I'm gonna need to buy a new one, but we're just getting started. Let's take a look at their web presence. The website looks mostly clean and professional, not too sketchy at face value. Their site sells various products, but the main focus is the Zilke Ultra Recovery Converter, which sometimes shows the branded logo and sometimes it just generically says USB 3.0 to IDE SATA. Who needs consistency anyway? The sales page values this converter at an insane $90, and they sell it for a slightly less insane $60. And this is where my investigation really takes a turn. Because again, in the videos, the messaging makes it seem like this thing can recover data from a dead hard drive. But all that aside, on their website, the FAQ says hard drives need to be in working condition for Zilke to recover the files. This product really isn't for data recovery, it's just for retrieving files off of a drive that was removed from a computer. I even saw some Facebook comments from the Zilke support team which confirmed this newly discovered information. Well, at least their website is more honest than their video ads, but the messaging is still very confusing, very inconsistent, and the price and value of this thing is stupid high. You can purchase equivalent 3-in-1 converters for $20 to $25, so $90 is ludicrous. And then I saw this advertorial which claims the Zilke takes full control over your drives, meaning you never have to worry ever again about backing up your files and data. Everyone, I cannot stress this enough. That claim is 110% false. Always have a backup of your data. And on the same webpage, it says the hard drive needs to be in working condition so you can retrieve the files, totally contradicting the previous claim. Oh, the inconsistency is killing me! So I think we need to test this thing to see what it's really capable of. So you know where I'm going with this, right? I went ahead and bought one. I clicked the buy now button and checked out, and wow, a special offer? For me? Oh, you shouldn't have! I better claim it quick, because the offer expires in 0 seconds. 0 seconds. Yeah, this rare offer is totally BS. Oh, and nice 1-star rating. That's not something you want to advertise, genius. Randy says he has hard drives that won't register on his computer, but this converter somehow successfully got the files back. This review implies the drives weren't working, but the computer was. But Zilke's FAQ and their support team says the drive needs to work so you can use it with the Zilke. Those things totally contradict each other. So finally, the purchase process was complete, and to my surprise, it actually arrived within a few days. Oh, and by the way, I saw a familiar looking portable SSD product on their website too. I just couldn't resist looking at the cutting-edgy data transfer. If you haven't seen the episodes where I debunk these fake SSDs, check them out. It's hilarious how bad these products are. But now, we must test out the main attraction, the Zilke Ultra Recovery Converter. Excuse me for a second. Hey, give me the flash drive.
Okay, fine. Here, take it. Thank you. Gee, hasn't your generation learned to knock? I could have been in here with my wife. Wait, where is she? Martha!
Okay, I got the flash drive. I'll have to extract the hard drive out of this enclosure in a second, but I want to take a look at the Zilke a bit. So, at first glance, it kind of looks like my drive toaster, except it's not as toastery. What I'm trying to get at here is the functionality is similar. You can take an internal drive, plug it into one of these converters or docks, and now it acts like an external hard drive that you can plug into your computer via USB. It's useful, but it's nothing miraculous in today's day and age. Definitely not worth $90. To test the Zilke, I attached a working 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, and it mounted perfectly fine. Then I attached Old Man Ken's malfunctioning hard drive and, what a surprise, nothing happened. No data recovery is possible simply from plugging a damaged hard drive into a converter. I reasonably concluded this thing was just a generic converter, so I poked around on Amazon and found an identical model sold by Sublime. Aside from the Zilke logo, it's the same product. I dove into the USB device tree for the Zilke and saw the vendor ID referenced InnoStore Company Limited, and the manufacturer is Zintop. The Sublime converter shows less information in the tree, but the same vendor ID, confirming that at least 2 brands are purchasing this hardware from an OEM and selling it under their own name. Which is totally fine, many people do this, but where Zilke is in the wrong is with all the false claims and the insanely high price. So we can conclude that the Zilke does not actually do any recovery. And if the drive connected to it was suffering from a logical failure, we would need special software to then try to recover the data. And that might be possible. I've shown software like this in past episodes. But because we're dealing with liquid damage, booze, and impact damage, the drive is most likely damaged on a physical level. So we need to call the experts.
Hello, Ken?
Brainiac Brent, book us a flight to California. We're going to Drive Savers.
Already on it?
Thanks. And also, why is it so dark where you are? It's the middle of the day.
How can you tell that over the phone?
Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Let's go!
And here we are, San Diego. San Francisco, I did it again. Sorry, I'm not very good at geometry.
Golden Gate Bridge? It's not even made of gold!
0 out of 10. Bird. I'm quite a bit lost. I'm trying to find my hotel. It's called Alcatraz. I really am lost. Nice house though. And over here is one of my favorite local burger eateries. Best of the best. Can't get them anywhere. Okay, so it turns out my hotel is actually in Novato. So as cool as San Francisco is, I'm just passing through to go to the Drive Savers headquarters. Let's go. And here we are. This is Drive Savers headquarters, and they should be able to recover the data from Old Man Ken's flash drive.
Hello, welcome to Drive Savers.
Hello, perhaps you can help me. I come from a far and distant place, the Central Time Zone. Do you think you can recover the data from this?
Absolutely. But you know you could have shipped it to us.
Okay, so it turns out I could have shipped the thing in for free. And the cool thing is they will evaluate it for free. But since it's going to take about 1 to 2 days with the plan that I chose, I have some spare time, so I'm going to take a quick tour of the facility and actually learn more about how drive recovery works. And then I'm going to head back to my lair, because between you and me, California is expensive. But it's really cool! And they can just ship the flash drive back when I'm done, so I don't have to bring it with me this time.
I learned lots of intriguing data recovery facts at Drive Savers, and I was able to try on a bunny suit for the first time, and enter a clean room, which we'll talk about in a bit. They even coached Brainiac Brent on how to reball a NAND flash storage chip so it can be soldered onto a logic board. And something I really liked, they had a museum of discasters showing the gruesome conditions some hard drives suffer, and Drive Savers still recovers the data. They also performed data recovery for many celebrities, including Harrison Ford, Sarah Natochenny, Bruce Willis, and even the Simpsons production team and Industrial Light and Magic. Oh, and Brent Spiner, who played Data. Get it?
Well, I gotta say, that was a lot of fun. Heck, they even let me keep the bunny suit. I kind of feel like a trash bag blowing in the wind right now. So, I still have a lot of cool stuff I want to show all of you, so let's head back to my lair and break it down.
Wait, if I can teleport, why the heck did I pay for a flight? Okay, so when I do these scam busting investigations, I don't like to merely show the product not working. That's too easy. What I like to do is show how a real product actually gets the job done that these things are claiming they can do. So while DriveSavers is working on recovering the data from the flash drive, I'm going to give you a quick crash course on how data recovery actually works. Boiled down, the two types of drive failures are logical and physical. And before any recovery attempts are made, DriveSavers will clone the drives so the engineer can preserve the data just in case something goes wrong. Logical failures occur when the drive's data is corrupted due to a computer error. The physical components of the drive still work fine, but the data is inaccessible. Physical failures occur when the drive's components malfunction. Common causes of logical failure, or logical data loss, include file system corruption, software malfunctions, malware attacks, and even user errors such as accidental file deletion or formatting. Now, recovering data from a logical failure can be achieved with special software, and there's some off-the-shelf solutions that can help with this. But if the corruption is more serious, you might need to talk to an expert. In DriveSavers' case, engineers use proprietary software to perform logical data recovery. The end goal is to reconstruct the file system, because in logical failures, the actual bits of data are typically unchanged on the drive, but the file system's file allocation table has no idea where to point the computer to the data. Now, physical failures is where we get to have all the fun. Generally speaking, there's two types of storage hardware: mechanical and flash. Mechanical hard drives use rotating platters of magnetic particles to store bits of data, and the particles are arranged by a read-write head. It's kind of like a record player that moves really fast. There are human problems that result in mechanical drive failure. You drop it, you mishandle it, you submerge it in liquid or something, but unfortunately there's some bigger disasters that could happen, fires and floods. But big disasters aside, sometimes a hard drive will just seemingly inexplicably die. Hard drive death can happen from a motor failure, which causes the platters not to spin, electrical problems with the circuitry inside the drive, or the dreaded head crash, where the mechanical disk's read-write head makes contact with the platter, damaging the surface. The space between the head and the platter, or the flying height, is typically 3 nanometers. To put that in perspective, a human hair is about 50,000 to 100,000 nanometers wide, so we're dealing with a really small distance. This is why engineers need to work in a dust-free cleanroom environment, because even the smallest particle touching the disk platter can cause contamination. And the engineers also need to wear bunny suits so contaminants from their skin and their clothes don't spread to the drives. And that's why I had to wear one. And all I have to do is put it on. Okay, we got it. DriveSavers Cleanroom also has various computers with different operating systems and software to extract data from disks with a wide range of compatibility. Sometimes other components in the hard drive fail. It's not just the disk getting scratched up by the read-write head. So DriveSavers has a morgue, if you will, of various hard drive components they've collected over the years. And those components are in working order. So if a drive has bad parts, they swap the bad parts out with the good parts from the morgue, and Bob's your uncle. They can now continue with data recovery. And in the end, after all your data is recovered, if you want your original broken hard drive's data permanently destroyed, DriveSavers can plop it into a degausser.
There we go.
Now let's talk flash. Drives that use flash storage media, like solid-state drives and SD cards, don't need to be handled in a cleanroom environment because they're not as susceptible to contamination. Instead of using mechanical parts and magnetic particles, flash media stores data in chips using electrons, a series of gates, and other architectural components. DriveSavers uses an X-ray machine to assess flash damage before dismantling the hardware. Here we can see this iPhone's NAND storage chip is pretty seriously cracked. And sometimes the storage chips are fine. There's other failed components around the chips on the board, and data recovery can continue until those components are fixed or replaced. So in addition to the X-ray machine, another diagnostic tool DriveSavers uses is a thermal camera. In this scenario, an engineer uses a bench power supply wired to an SSD under a thermal camera. This glowing region shows excess heat buildup in this capacitor, where heat should not build up. This indicates a short circuit. Now the engineer knows the component that needs to be replaced, and they can proceed with data recovery. Another common scenario is a broken iPhone logic board. This is an example of embedded storage. Instead of the storage medium being built into a device that's removable, like an SSD, the storage is soldered onto the logic board directly. In this situation, the NAND storage chip needs to be desoldered from the broken board, and Brainiac Brent will volunteer to reball the chip's BGA, so an engineer can solder the chip onto a working logic board and proceed with data recovery. But by far, the most powerful data recovery tool DriveSavers has is animatronic butterflies. But seriously, I'm amazed at how engineers can just figure out how to do all this stuff. So if you have a data emergency, DriveSavers can help you out. But the bigger lesson I want everyone to glean from this is back up your data. Copy it to an external hard drive, upload it to a cloud service, use Time Machine on your Mac, make sure iCloud backup is turned on your phone. Your data is way more valuable than the device it's on. Protect it. In other news, DriveSavers recovered the data from the flash drive and they put it on a better working, less booze-filled hard drive. And Old Man Ken, I was just about to call you. I have your data back.
Hey, sport, you can cancel that DriveSavers order. It turns out I had the drive all along with all the beautiful pictures of my wife, Martha.
Wait, hang on. If you have the drive, what did I bring to California?
Oh, you know what? That must have been the other one I used at my job back in the day.
Oh my gosh, I don't get paid enough for this. Okay, so what's on it? I'm curious.
Oh, it was nothing special. It was just the source code for a video game trilogy I was working on. What was the company again? Sprocket? Spring?
Valve?
Yeah, that's it. Huh? The phone stopped working. Martha!
Oh my gosh, a video game trilogy from Valve? Do you know what this means? It could be... Yeah, and I don't want to get my hopes up yet. Let's see. It is. The Half-Life 3 beta. Oh, it's not compatible with this Mac. Well, it was worth a shot. But what is compatible with this Mac, and pretty much every device, is Linode because it's a cloud service. And if you have an application or website that you need to scale or deploy, Linode has the infrastructure and the 24/7 support you need. Linode offers out-of-box apps for game servers like TF2, CSGO, and even Minecraft. You can run your own virtual private network with OpenVPN, build an online application with Joomla's content management system, or build a video streaming site with a multitude of app choices. There's so much you can do with Linode's affordable Linux virtual machines. And to boot, they offer award-winning 24/7 technical support. Visit Linode.com and click one of the sign-up buttons, and we'll give you a 60-day $100 credit just for watching this episode. And when you do that, you're also supporting the Computer Clan, so thank you very much. Catch the crazy and pass it on. Shoot! I left my hard drive in San Francisco.